here. So what you think about these concepts about products and services, the difference between them, and the challenge that companies are facing because they don't understand the difference between them. And it would be amazing to understand your point of view about it.
This is such a nightmare. The terms product and service are often interchanged. It depends on your perspective as well. Um, if you are if you think about things at a pretty high level, at an economic level, in business language, people talk about products. This is what organizations produce products. We talk about the gross national product, GDP, domestic product of an organization. Product that includes services. That includes this is a measure of economic value. It's a kind of economic exchange. Um, and if you talk to service science, service marketers, service specialists from a marketing perspective or service management perspective, but not in IT, they will often say that you can look at a product in terms of a combination of goods, tangible goods that you can pick up, that you can measure, that you can put on a shelf and sell to people, and services which are intangible, which are really mostly activities that you perform on goods or resources. That's another a word which is interesting, because if you've got a if I'm dealing with an IT system, is it a resource? Is it a product? It depends on your perspective. And certainly, when you when a company produces a product and provides it to another company, that company doesn't talk about the product as a product. Suddenly, the product has become a resource. It's just something that I need to do my job. It could be, and this is a linguistic distinction, but also a semantic distinction between two kinds of resources. You have operand with a D resources, and operand with a T resources. Operand, that those are passive resources that are transformed into something else. If you look at a bakery, for instance, an operand resource is flour. You buy flour and you transform it into bread. Bread is the product. Then you have an oven, which is, and of course, you have a baker with skills who, and in that process, you use these operant with a T resources, these more active resources to bake the bread. So we have the distinction between the resources that are transformed and the resources that are more like tools. They can both be provided to a company in the form, mind you, flour can't be provided in the form of services, but other things can. Um, if you think about, well, let's take it back to IT. You could use um, cloud service. You could replace the infrastructure in your on-premise infrastructure as a resource by a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. Um, so you and I'm just touching on the outside of this at the moment. So we have a company that produces resources, and they use services, products and services, or really goods and services to produce their products. Now within, let's see how see where this is getting us. Um, in the Oh yeah, let's talk about a potential confusion with products in the IT business. When, although we'll say a company produces products to sell to customers, if you look at the IT department within that company, they will probably have a software development department where they talk about producing software products. But these software products are usually just internal tools that the business people use. But from the perspective of the IT department, it's a product. But from the perspective of the users, they're just resources. And then we have the topic of IT service, which is the bridge, you could say, the bridge that gives users who want a resource access to the IT systems, which you could call products. You could call them goods, but okay, let's call them products. So you've got this within IT. You've got this mix of building, developing, engineering IT systems, and then IT systems are tangible. You can pick them up, you can do things with them, and then you've got the topic of IT service, which is more about activities, doing things with products. And the main things, the two things you do, maybe three, two main things you do with services. We talk about affordance and performance. Affordance is about giving people access to the IT systems. That's a crucial part about IT service. You give a certain group of users or individuals, you give them the right and the physical capabilities, but you give them the right to use an IT system, goods, products, tangible stuff. So you've got affordance, and then you've got performance, which is when the IT department, the service desk, for instance, performs activities to help people. So in IT service, these two things, affordance and performance. And you could say, I said maybe three, you could say transformance, transferring the ownership of a product to somebody else. So you can make the distinction between giving people IT service, affording people access to a system or a device. It's my device, but you can use it. Or you could say, I transfer ownership of that device to you. But on the other hand, you could say that's not service, that's just selling a product. So you can see there's a whole world of complicated interpretations of products and services. So you do the bottom line is, when anybody says service or product, just make sure that you know how they intend it, because it can be quite confusing. Even the topic of service can be confusing, because are people talking about a service offering that you could buy, for instance? Are they talking about the service that has actually been bought, been agreed upon? Are they talking within that contract, within that agreement, about service requests that could be made, requestable services at a much lower level of granularity? Are they talking about services that have been requested and experienced? So even then, you've got this terrible confusion about, when people say service, what kind of service do they actually mean?